The Amex Blue Business Plus, one if not the most popular business credit cards in the entire credit card game. Today I'm going to be applying live for this card so we can both see how it turns out in real time. Before we get into the application, let's talk about my data points right now at the time of applying for this card. The first thing to know is that my last credit card application was in June of 2022, so about 4 months ago. If we go ahead and take a look at my Credit Karma app, you can see that my TransUnion score is about a 753 right now, and my Equifax score is a 755. And then looking at Chase's credit journey, which shows my Experian credit score, that's sitting at about a 736. As for my hard inquiries right now, I have 1 with TransUnion, 0 with Equifax, and 4 with Experian. And obviously I'm not going to share all of my personal information with y'all, but whenever we get into the application process, I will touch more on all of the different form fields that you'll be filling out within the application itself. That way you can hopefully increase the odds of you being approved. Now that we've covered my data points, let's go ahead and talk about why I'm personally going to be getting this card right now. Now I did just make a full video talking about my personal credit card roadmap, which goes into much more detail as to why I'm getting this card right now. But as a quick summary, the first reason I'm getting this card is because it is a business card. And as I mentioned in that previous video, right now I'm sitting at 524 with Chase. And basically what that means is that I will not be approved for any Chase cards right now, personal or business, if I was to apply for them. And being that I do want to get some Chase Inc. cards starting in January of 2023, I do want to continue to garden my Chase 524 status, dropping my 524 status to 424 in January and 324 in either June or July of next year. And theoretically, if I was to get any personal credit card right now, that would actually increase my status with the Chase 524 rule, putting me at 624. But since this is a business card, it actually does not affect my Chase 524 status, meaning that even if I apply for this card today and get approved, my Chase 524 status will stay exactly the same. Another reason I'm applying for this card right now is because this actually will be my first business credit card ever. But if I do get approved for this card today, then I'll be able to start building up my business credit, which would theoretically help me get approved for the Chase Inc. cards starting in January of 2023. And another reason I'm applying for this card right now is because none of my spend right now is going towards a welcome bonus, and I just hate not having a welcome bonus that I'm spending towards. So if I get approved for this card, I'll be able to take advantage of all of that holiday spend I'll be doing in Q4 of 2022. That way I don't miss out on free value that I could be getting. Now, one big important thing to note about my personal situation right now is that I do not have a big business by any means in order to get this business credit card. And to address some of the preconceived notions y'all might have about business credit cards, no, you do not need a big business in order to get approved for one of these credit cards at all. As a matter of fact, to my knowledge, all you need in order to get approved for a business credit card is to either make some kind of income outside of your normal 9-to-5 job or expect to do so in the future. So even if you just have an idea for a business that you haven't even started yet, you could still get approved for business credit cards. Because think about it from a lender's point of view. A lot of times people are going to come to them looking to get some kind of loan in order to start their business. And in a sense, a business credit card is exactly that. You get a line of credit in order to start spending and getting the equipment you need to start your business. Now, of course, I'm not recommending that you get a business credit card just in order to put a ton of spend on it and not pay it off, because obviously on my channel, I only recommend that you get a credit card if you're going to use it just like a debit card and pay it off on time and in full every single month. So through this application, I'm actually going to be using my social security number to apply for this business credit card, which you can do for all business credit card applications. Now that you know a little bit more about my strategy and why I'm going to get this card right now, let's talk about what welcome offer I'm going to go with. Obviously, welcome offers are going to be some of the most profitable ways to get points from the amount of money that you're spending on your credit card. And as I mentioned just a second ago, that's a big reason I'm getting this card right now, is because I'm not spending towards any other welcome bonus right now. And Q4 is always the biggest spending quarter for most people because of all the gifts that you have to buy. So I figured I might as well be spending towards a welcome bonus with that higher amount of spend I'll be doing in this quarter. Now, the first thing that I would do with any credit card application, not just with this credit card, is to look for the best possible offer you can get. And most of the time, specifically with Amex cards, that's going to come through either referral links from your friends or just from somebody in a community that you might be a part of. Or if you're applying for a charge card with Amex, you could always go to resi.com because they have some really high welcome offers as well. But the search for the best welcome bonus on this credit card was a lot shorter lived than some of my previous credit card applications, because there are really only 2 credit card offers available out there right now. The first offer that this card comes with, which is the public offer on the card, is going to be 15,000 Amex membership rewards points after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months of having this card. And the second offer is going to be a targeted offer that you could also find on doctorofcredit.com that will give you 50,000 Amex membership rewards points after spending $15,000 on this card in a calendar year. Now, which one of these 2 offers am I personally going to go with? Well, don't get all up in arms about this, but I'm going to be going with the 15,000 point offer after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months of having the card. I just went through my whole entire thought process on this in my credit card roadmap video. But again, to summarize the main points as to why I'm doing this is because, first of all, I don't want to be having to spend $15,000 on this card over the course of a year in order to get the welcome bonus. The opportunity cost of that is just way too high in my opinion, because there are a ton of other cards out there with elevated welcome offers that could give me a ton more value than just 50,000 Amex membership rewards points. And another reason I like that first offer is because it only gives you 3 months in order to hit the welcome bonus spending requirement. And like I've said multiple times, I want to use this for Q4 of 2022 and only Q4 of 2022. And I definitely spend more than $1,000 a month on my credit cards, so this is going to be really easy for me to hit and not stress about it all. Now, the specific offer that I will be using came from the credit community Discord that Daniel Braun and Mark Plymale run together. It's a Discord that you should definitely join if you haven't already, because it's full of a ton of like-minded individuals to us who love credit cards. Okay, now it's time to go over to my computer and talk a little bit more about this card in depth and then get into the application process. So one of the most important things about this card to me is that it comes with no annual fee. And this is another really big reason as to why you might want to consider getting this card for yourself, especially if you have other Amex charge cards with annual fees on them. The Amex Blue Business Plus is one of the only no annual fee credit cards that Amex has to offer. And the best thing about that is that if you do have other charge cards with a ton of Amex points on them that you've accumulated over the years, then even if you did want to cancel those cards down the line because you don't want to pay an annual fee on them anymore, you can transfer all of your points from those cards onto this one in order to keep your Amex membership reward point balance alive. And the way this card earns is that it's going to give you 2x back on all purchases up to $50,000 worth of spend in the year. And then after that, it'll just give you 1x back on everything else. So of course, a lot of people out there are going to use this as their catch-all card because you get 2x Amex membership rewards points on every single dollar that you spend, which could then be transferred out to travel partners down the line to get upwards of 2 cents per point in value, meaning that effectively you're earning at least 4x back on every purchase with this card. And another cool thing about this card being an Amex card in particular is that if you do already have Amex cards that you've opened up in the past, then theoretically Amex only does a soft pull on your personal credit report every time you get a new card. Now for me, since this is my first business card application, I kind of expect that I'm going to get a hard pull either way, but I could follow up on this in the future to let y'all know whether it was a soft or a hard pull for me. And let's root for the soft pull in this case. Okay, fine. I know y'all are probably tired of hearing me talk, so let's go ahead and get into the actual application itself. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be the offer that I apply with, and this is a referral link that I got from the credit community Discord. So now that I know that I'm getting the correct welcome offer based on this referral offer box right here, showing that I'm going to get 15,000 membership rewards points after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months of having the card, I know I'm in the right place. And now since we already went into detail about this card, I'm going to go ahead and click apply now. Okay, and here comes the fun part where we get to fill in all of our personal information and hopefully get approved for the card. And the first thing that you should check whenever you're going to apply for a new credit card is in these sidebars right here, you'll be able to see which welcome offer you're applying with. So as you can see here, I still have that referral offer popping up with the 15,000 Amex membership rewards points, which is exactly what I expected, and I'm going to continue forward with this application now that I know that's correct. So the first thing they have you fill out is the email address, and that's good because I can at least get that part correct. But then you get into the harder stuff, which is your business information. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm going to be applying for this as a sole proprietor or with my social security number. So this application is going to be a little bit more nuanced for my situation compared to a normal business credit card application. But I know a lot of y'all are probably in the same situation I was in, where I didn't even know you could use your social security number to apply for a business credit card. So I'm going to walk y'all through this step by step, and if anything does go wrong with my application, I can tell y'all what went wrong and why. So if you did have an LLC or an S-Corp or something like that, you would fill in your actual legal business name and everything like that in this section. But if you're applying as a sole proprietor, like I'm going to be doing in this application, then I'm just going to put my personal name in this box. And then once you get through the naming section, you're going to go to the business address line and the business phone number line. Now this of course would be really simple if you have an actual business address and stuff like that, but for me, I'm just going to be putting my personal address in this line. Basically anywhere where it says business, I'm going to replace that in my mind with personal, because in this case, I am applying as a sole proprietor, meaning that I am my own business basically. And that's not any kind of financial advice or legal advice, so don't try to hunt me down for that. Now scrolling down the page a little bit more, you'll come to the industry type dropdown, which used to catch me up a lot whenever I saw other people applying for this because I just wasn't sure what to select. And from this list, you're going to have some pretty broad categories that you can choose from as to what your business does. And for my business that I'll be using to apply for this card through is going to actually be my YouTube channel, since it is turning a profit for me now, thanks to you guys. And although my channel does cover finance related topics, I don't think that's exactly what this drop down menu means. But at the end of the day, I don't think it necessarily matters what you choose here as long as it's close enough to what you do. And then you'll come to the company structure drop down, and for me, of course, I'll be selecting sole proprietorship, but this might be different for you depending on what kind of business you have. And then you'll come down to the years in business section, which is going to obviously let you put in how long you've been in business. And I've heard in the past that generally 1 to 2 years is a better thing to put than less than 1 year. And obviously that would make sense from a lender's point of view, because that would show that you're a little bit more stable and can maybe pay off your credit card bills better than someone who just got started in business. And of course, you don't want to lie for any of these form fields, but if you have had the idea of this business for a while, and say you even just started buying equipment for this business 1 to 2 years ago, then you could just select that in the drop down and you'd be perfectly fine. Then as for number of employees, you're of course going to want to put how many people work within this business. And if you're the only person as a part of your company, then you can either put 1 here or 0 depending on the credit card application. And then the next form field is going to be the annual business revenue. And of course, this is going to be a pretty scary tab to fill out, especially if you don't have any kind of income coming in from the business right now. But again, as I mentioned previously, even if you only expect to make some income from this business in the future, then you're going to want to put an educated guess as to what kind of revenue you could make from this business in a year in this tab. Because if you do put 0, then it's going to be a little bit harder for them to approve you, considering you might not be able to pay back your credit cards if you make no income from the business. And you don't want them to have to rely on your personal financial situation in order to pay off your business expenses as well. So I've heard that in general, even if you just put $1,000 as your annual business revenue, that gives you a higher chance than if you just put 0. But of course, make sure that it is a moral thing to do for you. If you actually don't expect to make any income at all or don't have any kind of idea for a business, then I probably wouldn't be applying for this card anyway. But as I keep on reiterating, even if you just have an idea for a business that might start making money in the future, then you can use these business credit cards to your advantage and you shouldn't be scared of them. And in similar fashion, for the estimated monthly spend that your business will have, you're not necessarily going to want to put 0 on this section again, because then your credit limit might not be very high. If they don't expect you to spend any money on the card, then why would they give you a high credit limit? So I'd probably at the very least at least put like $50 if you plan to buy maybe one thing a month for your business, even if that's just considered gas to and from where you're going if you're a real estate agent or something like that. Again, I'm not a financial advisor or a tax professional by any means, so don't take my word exactly for this. This is just what I've come to understand by watching other people apply for business credit cards in the past. Now we come down to some of the more legalese information, if you will, talking about the federal tax ID number. Now, as you can see here, it says that the federal tax ID, also known as your employer identification number or EIN, is required to open an American Express open business account only if you are a corporation or partnership. Moral of the story here is that if you have an actual business, you are going to have a federal tax ID, or you should at least. So if you've never heard of a federal tax ID before, then you either need to go get one for your business or you don't have one and you can just put in your social security number. And then you'll come down to the role in the company, and for me, for a sole proprietorship, I'm going to be the owner. You could really put whatever you wanted to here if you wanted to identify as something else, but for me, I'm going to call myself the owner. Then you'll finally come down to your personal information, which you're going to fill out like normal and be as honest as you can with all of this, especially when it comes down to the total annual income. While you do want to be really honest with this, I would recommend rounding up if you can. Just don't go crazy with that because that is illegal and you don't want to be reporting an income that you don't have. And then once we finally get through adding all of that personal information in, you can see the terms and conditions down here at the bottom of the application, which tells you your annual percentage rate or APR on all of your purchases if you weren't to pay them off. But of course, like we always recommend on this channel, pay off your cards on time in full every single month to avoid paying interest on your credit card bills and having your credit score tank. This will also tell you any of the fees that come with the card, and of course with this one we're going to have no annual membership fee, and this one does come with a 2.7% foreign transaction fee with some late fee and return payment fees, which you should never have because you're going to pay them off on time in full every month. And that's the third time I've said that in this video, so please take that into account. So I'm sorry that took so long for me to go through, but I think it's really important for you to see exactly what goes into one of these applications. I know for me, whenever I was new to the credit card game, especially the business credit card game, this was a very scary application for me to even think about filling out. So I hope this gave you some clarity as to what you should do if you're in a similar situation to myself. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out all of my personal information, get a little bit nervous about the application through that process, and then come back to y'all when I'm ready to proceed and see what actually happens with my application. Oh, also, once I started filling out my personal information, once I selected that I was a sole proprietorship, that box for me to include my tax identification number went away. So the only identification number I had to give them was my social security number at the end of the application in my personal information section, not the business information section. So as a sole proprietorship, you do not have to supply any kind of tax identification number. I just thought that would be good to point out in case y'all were confused whenever you came to this application yourself. Okay, the time has come for me to submit this application, and I am a little bit nervous because this is my first business card application ever, but I do hope this is the first of many because these cards come with some really awesome welcome offers and they can help supplement your spend with your business. So let's go ahead and click submit application and see what happens. Let's hope this goes well. Thinking. Come on, please. Whew, okay, I think this is good news because it is asking me to add some employee cards, which generally means you got accepted, but this pending review tab up here is a little bit concerning to me. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and click maybe later. See what happens now. Come on. Let's go. Okay, perfect. Well, it looks like we have been approved for the Amex Blue Business Plus, which is a great feeling because I really did want this card, and now I'm gonna be able to take advantage of all this spend in quarter 4 of 2022. So my holiday spend will not be for nothing. Okay, this is so cool. Sorry, I'm kind of geeking out over this, but this is a really good feeling for me because I wasn't sure if I was gonna get approved, but they actually do let me go ahead and get my card number now, which I could do. I do wanna see if they give me my actual credit limit, which I didn't see before. Hopefully I didn't miss it, but let's keep on continuing through this process. Definitely gonna go ahead and have to blur all this information out, but it does look like they gave me a $10,000 credit limit, which isn't bad in my opinion. I know I've hyped up Amex cards a good bit in this video, but before you apply for one yourself, you definitely want to watch this video that talks about why you maybe shouldn't get Amex credit cards, and it's going to cover some stuff you haven't considered yet, so go ahead and watch that. And as always, me and Odin both want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.